Today I'm reacting to your Monday Night Raw Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good thoughts or bad thoughts, about what you think on the current state of professional wrestling. So if you want to be featured in next week's Hot Takes video, make sure that you're following me on X, because I ask for your hot take on there after every episode of Raw, every episode of SmackDown, and after every WWE Premium Live event. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am confident you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel, because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's read your stupid shit. The Judgment Day finally getting one up on Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest was so good. This could have been the main event, and it would have sent the show off on an amazing note. I really like this segment. I like seeing the new Judgment Day finally getting one up on the Terror Twins after weeks and weeks of the Terror Twins making them look like absolute buffoons. Not only did I enjoy the segment because it was highly entertaining, I enjoyed the segment because it was highly necessary to the evolution of the new Judgment Day and making them look like an actual genuine threat to the Monday Night Raw roster. That being said, even though they finally got one up on the Terror Twins, it wasn't necessarily very convincing, considering at the beginning Damian Priest went out there and basically soloed the entire Judgment Day by himself. It wasn't a good look to see Finn Balor cowering as Damian Priest is standing above him personally. What I would like to see is, yeah, sure, you can have the goons like Carlito and Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough getting their ass kicked, but as soon as Finn Balor is out there, they should be a genuine threat to everybody. Now, should this have main evented? I'm actually going to say no. As much as I did like this segment and as important of a needle mover this segment actually was, I feel like the main event scene with Gunther and Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship and building that up towards Bash in Berlin, which will likely close the show, is a totally worthy main event spot for Monday Night Raw. But overall, I think that this is moving towards the right direction with the new Judgment Day, and I feel like this is the first time that we can say this since SummerSlam? Gable versus Uncle Howdy should have made it to the Bash in Berlin card. Yo, what is up with the WWE just apparently being scared to have the Wyatt Six on any of their PLEs? For the debut of the men in the six-man tag match, they did it the night after SummerSlam, and now for the debut of Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, the leader of all of this, the guy that we've been waiting for to finally get in the ring, they're doing it the week before a PLE. It's like they just don't want to give us the Wyatt Six and even Chad Gable in a PLE setting. It's very bizarre. And this is one of the longest running storylines, and unlike the New Day and the Final Testament, the storyline that people are actually invested in, a storyline that people want to see continue to play out, I think it's totally worthy of appearing on a PLE spot, but it doesn't seem to be able to somehow. I will be curious if Bo Dallas is going to be wrestling in the Uncle Howdy mask. When he did that Sister Abigail on Chad Gable, it did look like he had a more agile mask to him that he might be able to wrestle in. So I'm curious if we're going to see Uncle Howdy or Bo Dallas wrestling. I think that's the big question. And hell, that question to me is enough to warrant a PLE spot. Just the wonder of what this guy's entrance will be like by himself, the aura that this guy will exude by himself is worthy of making this happen at a PLE, but hey, whatever, man. At least we're getting it on free TV. I think Pat gets too much hate from the internet wrestling community, and he isn't as appreciated as he should be. Bro, the internet wrestling community sucks. Here's the thing. A puppy could have a differing wrestling opinion than the IWC, and everyone will hate this puppy because it just doesn't have the same dumbass wrestling opinion that they have. So here is some food for thought, something that will just make your life better. Who the fuck cares what the IWC? Like, honestly. I personally like Pat McAfee. However, I can see why he can be maybe a little bit too much for people that don't like that style of really in-your-face commentary. I will say, as somebody that grew up as a SpongeBob kid, you know, with the SpongeBob humor where it's like humor for kids, but, you know, they intersplice some humor for adults, and if you're an adult, you get it. That's what Pat McAfee does with the, like, I'm gonna yeet all over myself. Any kid won't understand what that means. He'll just think that Pat McAfee's saying yeet, but adults know what it means. And personally, like, that humor lands with me, but I can see it not landing with other people. I can see why people might not love Pat McAfee, but to me, not only is he valuable because he's entertaining and he's valuable because of the platform that he can give wrestlers with his show on ESPN, but more than anything, this man is so valuable because he elevates Michael Cole and allows Michael Cole to have fun with commentary, giving us the best possible Michael Cole that we could possibly get. That's where we're all going to miss Pat McAfee over the next 6 months, because I just don't think that we're going to get as good a Michael Cole when he's not opposite it this guy like Pat McAfee that just brings so much life to Michael Cole's commentary? WWE are fumbling Dragon Lee and Dragonov. I feel like the term fumbling is becoming highly overused in this world, but I will say, what are they doing to my boy Dragonov? Why is he on main event? Why is he not on Monday Night Raw? Why is he not one of your cornerstones to build something to Bash in Berlin, where he's basically a home crowd hero over there? I would love to see him on the show. Maybe they sneak him in as a pre-show, maybe, but it's not looking good right now for Ilya Dragunov. I'm a little bit concerned. Dragon Lee, I don't know so much about what's going on there. I thought he was injured. I really thought that he was off TV because he was injured, but I know Ilya Dragunov should not be appearing on main event. For the love of God, give this man something. He's one of the best assets that you have. USA Network should be ashamed for cutting Raw in the middle of the Orton versus Gunther brawl. WWE fans endure 3 hours full of commercials, including in the middle of the Orton versus Kaiser match, just to be left hanging and miss Randy hitting Gunther with an RKO. So I confirmed with some people that were in the arena, Gunther did get hit by an RKO. They completely cut that out, and they cut it off the second Randy was going for the RKO. I think that actually is criminal. They should have just not allowed the airing of the brawl and had the entire brawl be something for the in-arena audience to enjoy. If they were gonna cut it off, you cut it off when they're punching. Don't cut it off the second that you're going for an RKO. I'm with you, man. It's criminal. Somebody at USA needs to fix this, because they keep cutting off during major moments, like at the Dominic and Liv Morgan kiss that so many people miss. And this is just another example of either, terrible decision by some executive, some production member in the USA Network, or maybe we could blame WWE for going overtime, because they did. This was past the hour mark. So there is probably some blame to be tossed at different entities here. Bronson Reed, despite attacking everyone all the time, still feels boring to me. I'm not sure what they can do to make the audience start to invest in him. I don't know when you say make the audience start to invest in him. I think personally right now you might be in the minority. I feel like a lot of people are starting to get invested into Bronson Reed more than they were 4 weeks ago. That being said, I can understand that you might not be fully on board with all of this Bronson Reed meat, and I think that the best way to maybe get invested into the character is to see him get involved into a proper, fully fledged out feud, as opposed to him just destroying people time after time after time. And I think the end game for Bronson Reed is a returning Seth Rollins, and I'm sure that everybody will be wanting to see that. We'll want to see not just the return of Seth Rollins, but how does Bronson Reed operate when he's now against a main event caliber superstar that is, one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now. That will be a make or break moment for Bronson Reed, while beating up The Miz and R-Truth isn't gonna get us there yet. But I do think that there is something long-term, something big happening for Bronson Reed in the near future. I have no idea what they're doing with Jey Uso. Will it be Bloodline? Will it be Rhea and Damian? Sammy, singles champ? It just seems like it's all over the place. I'm glad that you're noticing this. It does feel all over the place. It feels very convoluted, and it feels like they're changing their mind week to week with what they want to do with Jey Uso. All right, yeah, we're gonna have him inserted into the storyline with the Judgment Day, where he might want to flirt with Rhea Ripley. No, let's not do this. Let's have him be a tag team once again with Sami Zayn. Oh no, let's change our mind. Let's have him go for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know what they want to do with Jey Uso, and that's baffling to me, to not have something concrete, something that lasts week over week over week for a guy that's this over. Like if this was a guy that couldn't get a crowd reaction, maybe I'd understand it. You're trying to find something that works for him, but this guy goes out there, breathes, and it works, and people lose their minds. Like, it should be easy. It should be an easy 2 + 2 = 4 with Jey Uso, but I think they're overthinking it. Hot take, but is the standing thing permanent? Because it feels like you're just trying to not seem short. I literally can't win. I sit down, I'm short. I stand up, you're just doing this because you don't want to seem short. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to fucking float? Sooner than later, every Dom stan like you will regret their allegiance. Doubt it. Pat McAfee was really so much fun as a commentator. I loved him, and it's so sad that he's gonna be gone until next year. I was so bummed out about this. Look, I get it. That's his major passion, football, college football, NFL, whatever it might be. But I just grew so so attached to the guy. I grew so attached to the value that he provides to not just the wrestling product, but to fans as well, that I'm like mad at him. Obviously, it's irrational to be mad at him because he's got other things and he's such a busy guy, but you made me fall in love with you, Pat McAfee, and now you're taking the thing that I love away from me. And yes, you're giving it back in a few months, but we're gonna miss you, man. Today's episode is brought to you by Turtle Beach, the #1 brand in gaming headsets and accessories. Their new Gen 3 Stealth 600 headset picks up so much crystal clear sound that I swear I heard a guy scratch his nuts on the other side of the map. You'll hear every footstep, every reload, every enemy sneaking up on you like they're stomping through your living room in tap dancing shoes, everything. Legitimately, they've been my go-to headset for gaming dating as far back as like 2009 in the MW2 days, but they're also my go-to for working and editing and long streaming sessions. Not just because of their high quality of sound, but their overall comfort. To me specifically, considering this is my job, that's incredibly important to have the headset feel like a soft pillow around your head. What's also nice is Turtle Beach has the Stealth 600 model, these bad boys right here, which are for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, including cross compatibility and Bluetooth. So that means one headset for all of your systems. So I can easily go from working on my PC, doing some boring editing, to ripping on my PS5 if I wanted to. They're also like the only wireless headsets that I've used that doesn't die after 12 hours. These bad boys right here, the Stealth 600s, they go up to like 80 hours. Whether you're a casual gamer or you're one of those fellas that hasn't touched grass in weeks, Turtle Beach is the right headset for you. So folks, get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, head to turtlebeach.com and use code Santi for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off of your entire order when you use code Santi at turtlebeach.com. Thank you to Turtle Beach for sponsoring this video. Now back to the video. This is interesting. This has some potential, referring to Braun Strowman versus Big Bronson Reed. You know, I mentioned that Seth Rollins is make or break for Bronson Reed, but it might actually be this. Don't forget, Braun Strowman is a former Universal Champion. This is a guy that's climbed to the top of the mountain. This is a guy that maybe has already created the blueprint as to how we get Big Bronson Reed to the same stage that Braun Strowman reached all of those years ago. And if Bronson Reed can have a definitive major victory against Braun Strowman while also giving us a quality, entertaining match, that might be the catalyst to get people that aren't fully invested and involved and ready to see Bronson Reed take that next step. That might be the catalyst to get them to believe. It feels like the difference between booking in the Triple H era versus the previous era, top babyfaces cut promos more rather than have matches. This is actually just objectively true. That being said, it's not exclusively true. Like we just saw Randy Orton have a match on Monday Night Raw. So, you know, top baby faces from time to time do have these matches on Raw and SmackDown, but you're right. Like they're relegated now to storytelling and microphone segments and backstage segments, and they tend to wrestle exclusively either dark matches, house shows, or the actual PLE that they've been building up to. You compare this at the very least to the Attitude Era, to the Ruthless Aggression Era, even to the PG era. It would be criminal to think that a Raw or SmackDown wouldn't have your top guy wrestling like CM Punk, like John Cena, like Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, like Triple H, like Shawn Michaels, like The Undertaker. They were always in action in some capacity, but this era of professional wrestling does treat them more like commodities that they want you to want more of, and because you want to see them more, you're willing to pay for a ticket for to go live to the actual show where you're going to get them as a dark match, where you'll pay for a house show where you'll actually pay for a subscription to watch the PLE. They want you to want these people, and they don't want to give it to you readily every single week. Jey and Sami should be going after the tag titles, not Jey after the Intercontinental Championship. Yo, what's up with this? Did I miss something, or are they scrapping this? Because I thought that's where things were going. Jey and Sami teaming up and deciding to go after Judgment Day and going after the tag titles. I thought that was locked down, but all of a sudden Jey's like, Sami's taking a break, and just because we can't be champions doesn't mean that you can't be a champion, so I'm going to go after the Intercontinental Championship. So did they scrap that? I don't know. I might have missed one particular plot narrative, but it seems like out of nowhere, they've scrapped Sami and Jey going after the tag titles. I thought that was locked down. Damage Control should have won. So this paints a bigger problem with the booking of the women's tag team division in that they might be overexposed and in too many storylines right now because they recently had a match at the Great American Bash in NXT. And the problem with that is that we knew that they were going to win because we knew that they were involved in a different storyline on Friday Night SmackDown. This recent triple threat match, although highly entertaining, we knew the Unholy Union was going to win because they're still in a championship feud with the big three over on SmackDown. So because they're overexposed and because they're going from brand to brand and not finishing storylines before starting new ones, you know they're going to retain because otherwise the other storyline is left with nothing to pursue. So what I'm saying is that this tag team match frankly just shouldn't have existed yet until the feud with the big three had fully culminated. I'm not even gonna lie, the strap match was the best thing Punk and McIntyre could have done until they decided to have the four corners thing. Yeah, the four corners aspect of the strap match is my least favorite type of the strap match, and I actually don't think that it works fundamentally with the narrative that they've been telling between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, because these are guys that want to beat each other up. These are guys that want to make each other pass out. These are guys that want to make the other person tap out. So by winning in a different fashion that is honestly kind of a game show where it's like, hey, go touch the four corners, it kind of goes against the notion that these two guys want to kill each other because you could win without killing the other person technically. I don't like this version of the strap match. I wish it was just a match where they kill each other and they're strapped to each other personally. The Wyatt Six, an American-made feud, needs a PLE spot. This should be elevated to much more than a TV rivalry, and it's arguably better than most of the current PLE rivalries. I don't know that it's better than the current PLE rivalries, but it's good, and it should be on a PLE. I 100% agree with you. We talked about this earlier in the video, but I wanted to reiterate it one more time. It's bizarre. It's odd. They put so much time and effort into the Wyatt Six and so much time and effort into the rebuilding of Chad Gable as a heel, and all of it has worked. People like the Wyatt Six. People are on board with Gable. People are on board with American Made, but you're not giving us the payoff at the place where it should be paid off. That Pete Dunne versus Sheamus match was one of the best TV matches of the year. Look, we know that Pete Dunne is capable of having good matches. He's still young and he's already got a great resume of fantastic matches from his time in NXT UK, NXT Black and Gold, but this was the first time in his main roster run that it feels like they've finally just taken the leash off of him and let him be the Pete Dunne that we knew to grow and love in those early days of NXT and NXT UK. Finally, like they seem to be letting him be Pete Dunne, and Sheamus just continues to be the banger machine. This guy is so good. He's so timeless, and so, to this day, I still think highly underappreciated. The Miz is still one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. I forgot how good he was. That was a good match with Bronson Reed. That was a nice little pleasant destructive surprise that no DQ match had. It was kendo sticks, it was garbage cans, it was tables, it was chairs, it was using basically everything. But what I liked the most about this was actually the Miz's promo before the match even started, when he's like, yeah, I don't want to go out there and fight Bronson Reed. I'm not stupid. I know that he's going to kill me, but he took out my friend, R-Truth, and he's like the only friend that I have because no one likes me here. So I have to step up and be the man that R-Truth needs at the moment, and I need to go defend his honor. Miz is still amazing. Miz is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He gets far too much hate as far as I'm concerned. They need Jey Uso to win a title already. I love Breaker's new reign, but I don't feel like getting baited into thinking he's gonna win a title just to lose again. Yeah, that's kind of the big conundrum with being a Jey Uso fan these days, huh? Because you've been burdened so many times with all the opportunities that he's gotten and all the times that they refuse to pull the trigger on him, that now that he might get another opportunity, you're jaded. You just believe that it's going to be the same thing over and over again, where they get your hopes up only for them to not pull the trigger. And frankly, if he's going up against Braun Breaker, there's no one on this planet that's going to actually believe that they're going to pull the trigger and have the Jey Uso take the title off of the new champion, Braun Breaker. Nobody believes that. If he couldn't win Money in the Bank, if he couldn't win the IC title before, if he couldn't win the US title, if he couldn't win Money in the Bank, if he couldn't win any of the other singles accolades leading up into this, what's going to make anyone truly, genuinely believe that Jey Uso could take out Braun freaking Breaker at the moment? All right, folks, thanks so much for watching this episode of Hot Takes. Thanks so much for submitting your stuff in. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. Get out of here.